Welcome to the Prophecy Club. You know, the objective here is to get you informed so that when these things start coming to pass, which probably is not going to be too much longer, you are going to be able to give an answer. It's also, at least from my point of view, I want people to understand that the whole time I've been telling them the truth. When they can look back and say, you know what? Prophecy Club been telling us all this stuff so that one day when we point them to Jesus, they will believe us. Today we're going to be listening to I Saw Subs Attack America. This is from my very favorite speaker. Out of 160 speakers we had over 25 years, he's number one in my book. I just love Henry Gruver. Wonderful, wonderful Christian man. And it's part of a 6 DVD offer that we have going right now. The 6 DVDs you can get valued at $200, all available for a gift of just $50. Or you can go to watchprophecyclub.com and watch all of our DVDs for a gift of $20 a month or $200 a year. Now, here are the 6 DVDs in this gift offer. Top Soviet War Plans for America. I'm not going to go into explaining them because we've already explained those over the last several broadcasts, and I don't want to bore you. So, Top Soviet War Plans for America by Jeff Nyquist. Russian Defector Warns America by Stanislav Lunev, the highest-ranking Russian military officer to ever defect to America. Russian Bear Awakes by yours truly. The Babylonians Are Coming by Pastor Massey. Russia's Secret Weapon to Defeat America by Bill Sneblin, and Storm, Judgment, and Revival by Shane Warren. All 6 DVDs, valued at $200, gift of $50, prophecyclub.com, 785-266-1112, or watch them all at watchprophecyclub.com. Now let's go listen to Henry Gruver in I Saw Subs Attack America.
And I wanted to turn to the people and Charles and the general and say, let's get out of here. If that frog croaks, we're all dead. But I didn't do it. I stayed seated and kept silent. And all of a sudden, as I was watching that frog, it opened its mouth, and out of its mouth came a white vapor. And as that white vapor came out, terror filled me. The people with me didn't see it. My family didn't see it. My wife didn't see it. Charles and the general didn't even see it. The white vapor came and enveloped Charles and the general. I knew when that vapor hit, they were dead. And this is why some people ask me, do you believe that Charles is the Antichrist? Well, I did not see him die in the vision, but it was like I knew in the vision, that white vapor hits you, you're dead. Chemical warfare. At the instant it hit Charles and the general, coming toward my wife on the other end of those chairs, I was caught up again like the Russian invasion vision, the submarine vision, caught up into the heavens, looking down on the earth like a globe. The kind of a picture that you would see, a satellite picture when they do the weather picture. And as I was caught up in the heavens, I was looking down on the earth, but instead of seeing the whole earth, I looked in like I had eagle vision. I focused in on a square down on the earth, and what I call Trafalgar Square, and I apologize for not having a picture of that. I didn't bring it with me. I've got plenty of them at home. Trafalgar Square is over in the heart of London. The main arteries of all the highways come together in London, and they come together at Trafalgar Square. You have the political offices, you have industry, you have religious churches, you have libraries, museums. It's a representation of the British Empire. You have 4 lions, massive bronze lions that are about 10 feet tall, that are on the 4 corners of the square, aiming the north, south, and east and west. You have Nelson's column on the square. Admiral Nelson is the one that they honor because of the Battle of Trafalgar that took place, that determined the North American continent to be under the colonies, and which obviously became the United States of America. But without the winning of that Battle of Trafalgar, Spain would have ruled the North American continent, and the colonies would have all been under Spain. You see the turning point, the pivotal point of history here, very crucial. I believe much of this is the reason God showed me Trafalgar Square, or put that in me. I've been to Trafalgar Square many times, had been before this. But God made it real to me as Trafalgar Square. I'm looking down into the square when all of a sudden the people come running out of all these businesses and these offices and industries and everything. And they're running into the square. And all of a sudden they start pointing up like where the frog was at my left hand in my vision. Now they're pointing up the same direction to my left hand. I'm looking to see what they're pointing at. And as I look, I see they're pointing at a massive military that comes clear up into the heavens where I'm standing. I look off, and to the immediate left of me, above this massive military that goes into the heavens, is a gentleman that's standing up there, and he is standing with his fist clenched. This gentleman is standing, I'll find it in a second. This gentleman is standing, his fists are clenched down at his side like this. As his fists are clenched, he's full military uniform. As he's full military, he's looking down at his army. He's watching these people down in the square. And as he's watching them down in the square, they are pointing at his army, and they are pointing at him, and they are laughing and mocking. I can't believe that they are mocking an army that goes into the heavens. This just boggles my imagination. Why would they mock such a fearsome-looking army that have weapons out here? The military were holding guns out here because their chests came out like the ribbing of a locust. They had googie eyes and snooted noses, mouths like, what was it? It was the chemical warfare material that the Russians wear. And as they were standing in the heavens, I begin to see the fury coming up in this man's face. In 1985, I saw a newspaper article, and in this article, I saw this man's face. The man's name was Lebed. And this man, the man you're looking at on the screen right now, is the man that in 1985 I saw on this newspaper article. And he was the general that was standing in the heavens with his fists clenched, looking down on the army, angry, looking at these people. I saw the fury begin to come up in his face. I saw his neck begin to swell. I saw the blood vessels begin to bulge. He was getting angrier by the minute by these people mocking and laughing and saying, "We're not afraid of you. You don't have any power anymore. Your armies are falling apart. They can't do anything." And as they were mocking him, the fury was coming up in his face, and all of a sudden his clenched fist came up like this. And he uttered the words, "Present arms! Aim! Fire!" And as he said this, a rectangular weapon off to his right with many cylinders in it shot out what looked like lightning through the heavens, up in the heavens where we were, way above the earth. And they began to fire on the people down in that big square. It caught them by total surprise. I could tell by the way it caught them, they sincerely believed what they were saying. They did not believe that that army had any strength anymore. They believed that it was just simply a ragdoll army. But there was an army there that they weren't aware of. And they began to fire on the people in that square. And as they fired on them, I could hear the bullets hitting them. It was a sound like shooting into mattresses. I heard the people screaming, and they ran back and forth across that square. These people were wearing, the welder had his helmet up, and he had his leather apron on. The nurse had her hat on, and the doctor his stethoscope. Everybody was in their occupational garb. They were totally all dressed in their everyday working apparel. There was no military in that square. They were all citizens, totally at rest, totally at ease, and did not believe there was any threat whatsoever on their society. The bullets were riddling them, but I didn't see the people falling, and this troubled me, so I kept watching the people as they ran back and forth as these bullets were like tormenting them. When all of a sudden, in the peripheral vision around them, I began to realize it wasn't the people the army was after. It was all of the material things around them. All things of wealth or of value around them began to disappear. And that was the end of the vision. Now I want to begin to give you a little bit of understanding concerning this gentleman by the name of Lebed. I want to show you a little bit about him, because I believe that he is the one that will speak the words that will begin the attack on America. And as you have seen on the television, you saw his picture inset in the United States of America, and you saw the black dots along the perimeter on the East Coast, up by New York, down by Miami, and in that area, the blackened areas of the country, and up by Seattle, Bellevue, and you saw it down San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. The reason I put that man's picture in the middle of it is because in the vision, he's the man that gave the orders to begin the attack. Now, you need to know a little bit about this gentleman, because it will help you to understand why he would be a chosen man for this particular order to be given. Reserve General Alexander Lebed, pictured in the center there, a contender for the Russian presidency, has said Russian soldiers going unpaid in the current economic crisis were in a revolutionary mood. He said the army is in a revolutionary mood. Lebed urged support for acting Prime Minister Viktor Chernodin, saying he was the only heavyweight politician who could slow down Russia's downfall. Now, we are hearing this more and more. Russia is heading for a downfall. Russia is in trouble. All right? Now, here are some quotes from this gentleman. I want you to begin to think about this and ponder this man's thinking. He says, quote, Lebed here, September the 3rd, 1996, he said this, I'm the kind of cat who likes to prowl on my own. An interview in Russia. Then another interview. First we act, and then we explain. Sound familiar? Another quote. Most Russians don't care whether they are ruled by fascists or communists, or even Martians, as long as they can buy 6 kinds of sausage in the store and lots of cheap vodka. Financial Times, September the 6th, 1994. Interfax, December 28th, 1994. He says, clever people learn from others' mistakes. Fools learn from their own. And this one comes from Holland, March the 10th and 11th, 1995, Amsterdam. He says, lions led by donkeys can't win against donkeys led by lions. Now, you keep these thoughts in mind. I want to tell you some more about this man before we leave. Here's some more thoughts. Quotes from him. I spit on popularity ratings. I live and serve as I see fit. That's a Russian paper, April 19, 1995. Another quote, April 95, from the same Russian paper. It's the argument. And I can't pronounce the word fakte. He says, people aren't given teeth just to chew with. They need to be shown from time to time. Strength makes the world go round. Now, when he said this, he was running for governor of Siberia. And guess what was on his posters? I've asked them to send me one, some people that were going over to Siberia, because I met a person that said he had one. And I said, can you at least just take a picture of it or something and send it to me? But I haven't got it yet. I'd hope to have it before this tour. But do you know how he was poised in his political poster all over Siberia running for governor? Fists clenched, looking up, showing his teeth, with a face like a bulldog. What was it I saw in the Prince Charles vision when the general became angry? His fists came up. He said, present arms, aim, fire. And that's what he's saying. I want to read that one again to help you to understand. People aren't given just teeth to chew with. They need to be shown from time to time. Strength makes the world go round. I've just picked out a few of his quotes here. Here's another one, given in April 95 from another paper called Submarines. A cat driven into a corner becomes a tiger. What are they doing to the Russian economy now? They're driving them into a corner so they'll become a tiger. You get hungry enough, you'll be ready to fight. Another one from Submarines, April 1995. Think before you speak, and don't say everything you think. Another from the Trud paper in Russia, July 26, 95. Russia is like a dinosaur. A lot of time is needed for change to reach the tail from the head. Now, what does that tell you? America has the microwave, push-button mentality. Everything instant. But Russia has a totally different mentality. They have a mentality of champion chess players. They are expert strategists. They were champions for many decades in playing chess. Chess is a strategy game. Chess is a game that takes great patience and consideration of every move because you must look at the overall plan. America, we do things a little differently. I'll read the last quote here. Oh, I got a couple more. Let's read a couple more. Every country's population is divided as follows. 5% are the smartest and best, and 5% are the most unrepentant scoundrels. Between them is a swamp of 90% who go where they're told. You see the mentality we're talking about? This again is quoted from another Russian newspaper, September the 8th, 1995. The Sumomen Kivahati, or whatever you'd pronounce it. He who shoots first laughs last. Keep that one in mind. We're going to build on that. I'm going to show you some information that's been presented to the Pentagon and scenarios and warnings and see if that one doesn't come out true. Now, this one was quoted, that particular one was quoted and printed in the New York Times, January the 17th, 1996. Quoting Lebed. Another one, December the 1st, 1995, from the Daiwuchi newspaper. Yes, he says, I have many enemies, but many enemies adorn a man. He's not out for a popularity trick, is he? Then he says also, October the 1995, he says this, NATO acts like a big drunken hooligan in a kindergarten who says he will hit anyone he likes. You know that scenario. And the final one I want to give concerning his expression of NATO is this, quote, given in April 1995. If NATO begins expanding through Eastern Europe, World War III will start. Civilized and uncivilized states will be destroyed. Everybody and everything. Do you think he's a man to watch? I think he's definitely a man to keep an eye on. Now, as I told you, I'm going to be giving you some heavy things. One of the most difficult things for me to understand in the Russian invasion vision was how could they get submarines parked that close to our shores without us detecting them? And if you would look at the inset in that map of the United States, you see the face of Lebed, but you also see a submarine underneath a merchant ship. Directly under a merchant ship. And that comes from the London Times magazine. I was walking the streets of London. I was troubled after seeing that vision. It was a few days before I was to head back to the United States. And I said, Lord, I don't understand. How could they get those submarines that close to our shores and we not detect them? And you know, I found this to be true. Anytime God gives you a vision, if you want to know more about it, He will take you right to where the source is. I literally turned to my right hand and looked at the newsstand, and right on the newsstand, the front page of the paper, of the Today paper, was what you're looking at on your screen right now, is the mystery of the submarine and why our forces did not rescue the merchant ship that was floundering along the Icelandic coast, going along at 5 knots. And the article explains the reason they did not go in, our United States Navy did not go in and rescue those men that perished in those Arctic waters, was because they go along, they discovered that the Russian ships, merchant ships, go along at 5 knots, and the submarine, they are positioning a submarine toward the shore. The submarine breaks off from underneath the merchant ship and stops its engines and stops down, resting on the bottom, positioning itself. For many years, they had what they called the ghost ships. They would see on our radar a ship go, and all of a sudden the ship would split in half. There'd be 2 ships, and then one would disappear, the other they'd check out. It was a merchant ship from Russia. They couldn't figure out what was going on. Until finally they discovered For decades, they had been positioning their submarines all along our east and western shorelines. Now, the question I have in this, and the reason I believe God allowed me to have that newspaper article that day to give me the answer, was for this reason. If they had been practicing this for decades, how easy, my question to you is, how easy is it for them to just simply forget that idea and that strategy and drop it? Now, I want to begin to read to you some of the expressions here. Again, an expression from a Russian newspaper, and I have difficulty announcing these particular titles, but it is the Naziya Gazeta, okay? On April the 3rd, he is given this. I want to read this. Alexander Lebed accused President Yeltsin of betraying the soldiers in Chechnya. In an article he published in the Naziya Gazeta on April 3rd. He said Yeltsin erred in launching the recent wave of attacks in which hundreds of Russian troops were killed, only to sue for peace later. He said that this stop-and-go policy was reminiscent of the fighting last spring. He urged Yeltsin to push on for the military victory that he considers to be very close. Remember, Lebed was the general over this problem to try to get it corrected. Lebed said that doubts can exist only before the beginning of a war. You get that? Doubts can only exist before the beginning of a war. Once a war is set in motion, forget the doubts, press it through to victory. Now, I quote him again. He said, we are fighting not so much for a specific territory, but for Russia's national dignity. And listen to his last words of this expression. Russia must announce to the world that it will never again retreat. Now, that's the mindset of what we're talking about. I want to begin to give you some information here that will help you to understand. Lieutenant General Garner, 1997, in a symposium that he gave concerning national missile defense, stated, he described the cruise missile threat against the U.S. as real and warranting the immediate attention of the Pentagon. Now, what is a cruise missile? You all were introduced to a cruise missile last month. When did we hit? We hit Afghanistan and the Sudan. We used cruise missiles. Remember, it was from 170 to 190 miles to the target. We fired them from submarines. Remember that? The news came out. 170 to 190 miles distance, between 2 and 3 minutes from the firing, it was all over. They did not detect the cruise missiles because you don't. They go very low over the surface of the earth. They literally can go up over mountains and come back down and go along. He says this now. Russia's submarine emphasis continues to puzzle defense analysts. The fourth-generation submarine, Severodonetsk, may be operational in 1998 and more capable than any undersea vessel in U.S. service, including the latest attack submarine, the Seawolf. Right now, the Russians are reconstituting their submarine fleet for the first time since the decline of their submarine fleet in 1991. Furthermore, a new ballistic missile submarine, the Bory class, is currently under development with a significantly greater missile strike capability than existing weapon systems. It is expected to be deployed near the year 2000. Russia's most potent first strike weapons. Now, this is crucial in any area of national defense to us, and this is why they're talking about it. The Typhoon, pictured here on the overhead. The Typhoon. What is a Typhoon? The Typhoon, the Delta, ballistic missile submarines house 20 and 16 ballistic missiles, respectively, with up to 10 warheads each. The Typhoon and Akula-class submarine can fire missiles at 15-second intervals. That's fast. Do you realize that? The Akula sub and the Typhoon can fire missiles at 15-second intervals, placing 200 United States cities or ICBMs at risk within 5 minutes from launch. What does that tell you? Now, you're looking at the Typhoon submarine here. I'll give you a little statistics about it. You're looking at it. It has a double bore on it, double thing. And the purpose for the design of this, the Typhoon, can go much deeper than the American submarine. any submarine we have. It can sit way down on the bottom, and it has a greater payload. You're looking over here, you're looking at the payload, all the missiles in it. You see the line of missiles. You see the American submarine here, the Trident, I'm sorry. I want to read about the Soviet Typhoon. It's the largest submarine in the world. It's 561 feet long with a beam of 78 feet and displaces 25,500 tons. It carries 20 SS-20 ballistic missiles with a range of 5,000 miles. Each missile has independently targetable warheads. It is a silent sub, as depicted in the movie The Hunt for Red October, and was specially built for the under-Arctic operations. This is built with super strength, this submarine. It is built so that it can penetrate right through the ice and break through the ice and fire the missiles from up in the Arctic. Now it has a 5,000-mile range. How far down does that come to us? You can really knock out a lot of the United States of America. That's the power of this submarine. A single Typhoon operating from Russian Arctic waters could strike 200 cities. One submarine could strike 200 cities anywhere in the United States. And currently there are known to be 63 Russian ballistic missile submarines in operation and more being produced. Now I ask you a question. If the Cold War is really over, why are more being produced?
I'm going to interrupt right there, but I really want you to get these 7 DVDs. Top Soviet War Plans for America, Russian Defector Warns America, I Saw Subs Attack America, Russian Bear Awakes, Babylonians Are Coming, Russia's Secret Weapon, Storm Judgment and Revival, and the First 34 Orders. Also, get Jeff Nyquist's book, Origins of the Fourth World War, free, valued at $230 for a gift of $50. But you can call 785-266-1112 and get a code and go to watchprophecyclub.com, and you can watch all 7 of them for the next 90 days for a gift of just $20. 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. Watch all 7 of them for 90 days, gift of $20. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for those gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. The Extreme Summer Blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250. That's $5 each. 25 for $160. That's $6.40 each. 15 for $120. That's $8 each. 10 for $100. Obviously $10 each. 6 for $70. 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply. The recordings discussed on the Prophecy Club are typically offered for a gift of $30 per disc or title, a double disc for $45 or a triple disc for $65. If there a way that you could watch any one of our DVDs for 50 cents to $1, you probably want to know about it, right? Well, go visit watchprophecyclub.com, where you can watch over 160 Prophecy Club titles for an introductory monthly recurring subscription of just $20 a month, or a yearly subscription for $200. The early $200 subscription is the best deal because it locks in your rate against increases in monthly subscriptions. That's watchprophecyclub.com. You'll love the format. It's easy to watch, and the quality is great. Watchprophecyclub.com. Watchprophecyclub.com. Go check it out today.